What's up, buddy?
My man.
How you been?
Number 39, dude.
39 already.
Dude,
Well, we got something big coming up for 52, right?
it's big
The
number
1 year
52. 1 year anniversary.
We'll be giving away this beautiful 5-ounce poured piece. Guys, check in the description section. I have all the information on how to get entered.
Memories.
Dude, we have a guest on today.
We do. People just starting to like us for some reason. I don't know why, but man, I enjoy it. I mean, not that you're not enjoyable to talk to every week, but
man, I know I get kind of boring, man. I put people to sleep.
No, not me.
So last week we had Heidi on, Heidi Wastweet. If you guys don't remember, she's the master engraver for the U.S. Mint and for many other coins and projects. Lots of sculpting, really cool. Today we have
great one.
Oh, it was such a cool episode. Today we have the opposite end of the spectrum. Somebody who's really big in social media, does a lot of online sales. Chances are, if you've bought a coin on social media, it's passed through this guy's hands. Who do we got, man? Who do we got?
Bring him up.
Mr. Edgar Joya. We have AG Stacking. If you don't know him, guys, this is AG Stacking.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
How you guys
What's
doing?
up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Out here in Texas.
Oh, I hear a rooster. That's not mine.
Yeah, no,
I was going to say, what the hell, Husky?
I was hearing it in my headphones. I'm like, that's not right. That's cool, man. That's cool. All right, so you are the Instagram flash sale god. I'm making it up, but that's how I see it, man. When I see AG Stacking dropping little,
a lot.
It's a lot, dude. He gets heavy. It's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool. So Ed, tell us a little bit about how you got into metals, man. What got you started?
Honestly, I had nobody in my family that I knew of when I first started that actually stacked. So the way I got started was I was dating my wife today. It was 2008. She was 2008. She was working at Bank of America, and I had to go visit her. I go take her lunch sometimes, and it was like a 30-minute bike ride from my school to her job, and I would stop by on my way back home because I'd get high to get, bag of hot Cheetos and Arizona mango tea, and $2 back in the day, you get change, right?
Sure.
And not no more, but back then you did. And the lady handed me change, and I remember seeing a shiny quarter in there, and I was like, "Is that an aluminum quarter?" And I saw it. I put it in my pocket. I went outside. I flipped my bike over, and I sat down. I pulled it out, and then I dropped it, and it made that ding. I was like, "Man, you are faking aluminum quarters? Like what? Like why? I know they do bills." That was I didn't know what it was, or I thought it was just an aluminum quarter because it was so different from the other ones.
Right.
Sure.
It was shiny. It was a 1964, so it looked like it was still brand new, uncirculated probably. And in that area there was a lot of older folks. There was an older community up there, so I'm sure somebody probably brought it in, didn't realize it. Sure. And every weekend my dad would take us on a Sunday usually to the flea market. So then I started noticing all these people selling them. And I was like, I started asking, and then finally this old man was like, he took the time to explain to me, like 1964 or older, they're silver, they have 90%, blah, blah, blah. He's like, any quarter you bring me, I'll give you $5 for. I'm like,
dang. Yeah.
I'm like, how do I get them? Yeah. He goes, go to the bank and take $10, $20, whatever you can, get quarters, and then look for these dates. And it's like, any quarter you bring me, I'll pay you $5 for them. And he was selling it for 10. Wow. This was back then. Yeah, silver was up, but even then, I mean, it was still, to me, it was crazy because you're getting it for free. So then I started looking. That's how I started. I pretty much started coin roll hunting, and I would get dimes every once in a while. My wife would sometimes find them. She'd hold them for me. And anytime if I get 5 or 6 of them, I keep half of them and I take them the other half, sell them, buy myself a shirt or something from the flea market. All happy, money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I started, man. And it just, from there, it was like, I went into to work for a real estate investor. And the guys there were like, you need to get into the ingots and the bars and the silver bars and gold bars. He's like, you're probably too poor for the gold, but you could do silver. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I buy jewelry. I got change. He's like, no. You're wasting your money on that stuff. You got to buy the silver bars. And then they started showing me Scottsdale Mint and then on eBay and all this stuff, Eagles. Nice. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I started noticing the other guys at the flea market selling those too. And then I'd ask like, hey, what are you guys buying them at? What would you pay me for them if I could bring you some? I'm like, oh, anywhere from $45 to $55. So then I go on eBay and I try to get them. If I can make $5, I bid, and I still have some receipts somewhere where you can see I was buying Eagles at $45, $42. I take them to the flea market, make $5, $8 on them, and they buy them off of me. They were selling them for like $65.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is back then. Like to me, it was just a way of savings, like making money, and at the same time, it was me saving money because like my mom would tell me that I had holes in my pocket because I would just burn through my cash.
Yeah, we've all heard that, I think.
Yeah, like we didn't grow up with much, so as soon as I started making my own money, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna buy me, instead of buying me some freaking Skechers, I was getting in some and ones. I'm gonna give me some Nikes. I could afford them.
Right.
I would just spend my money, right? But as soon as I got into silver, it was a way for me to save. I remember when I had my first $1,000 saved up in metals, I was like, oh, I would have never had this in cash,
Right.
And from there, I just kind of like started doing that. Then silver dipped. And I kind of quit for, I don't know, 2-3 years. I stopped. I was working more than anything. And then I came across a Facebook group where I was selling electronics. And somebody posted something about, they were looking for a coin page. And it popped up. And I clicked on it. I was like, people are selling this stuff on Facebook? Like, what? There's groups for this? So I joined. And then from there, I just this was like 2014. And then it just kind of like took off from there, and it was just like, what? Like, this is nuts. Like, I can do this, online too. And from there I started. And then in 2016 is when I actually made my page on Age Stacking. I created that in December. I was like bored. We didn't have much to do. So I just created a page. I had my personal page, but Age Stacking, I actually started that in December of 2016. And then from there, it just took off. Once we moved to Texas, I had time, in California. Yeah. I worked for Tesla, and I was working anywhere from 70 to 90 hours a week. So I had no time back home. It was just work. And once I moved over here, I worked 40 hours, and I'm like, I get home like at 3-4 o'clock. I'm like, what do you guys do the rest of the day? Like, coin shops were open. I'd visit the coin shops. I, connected with a few people, and then visit them every week, twice, maybe sometimes 3 times a week, and on the weekend. And then it just became a hobby that I enjoyed a lot more because I had more time for it. And then the second year, I was like, I think I want to do this full time, and quit my job and stuck with it. Now in July, it'll be my 4th year.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're on primarily Instagram, right? That's like, that's your bread and butter.
The majority of my sales are Instagram. I still go on Facebook. Some of the original groups like Gold Bugs and Silver Bugs, I'll post here and there, and then some of the other good groups. But for the most part, I stick with Instagram. I'll put stuff on YouTube here and there. I don't have time very much, or I don't make time. And then same thing with TikTok. But there's just so many people that are just copying and taking your pictures and creating. It's so hard to keep up with it all.
Right? Yeah, man. So your bread and butter, Instagram. What's your formula for making like the hottest live sales or flash sales, the best account where everybody wants to go to you? You got solid clientele, man. What do you do?
Sure.
I think honestly, it's just consistency, man. Like I tell people, you want to do this for forever, anything, you have to be consistent. People for me, I don't have a set date or time when I have my flash sales. They're really random because I don't know what I'm going to do with my, I dedicate a lot of my time to my family, my kids. So like if they want to go do something, I'll be like, all right, I'll do my sale tomorrow, even though I might have had a plan earlier in the day. And my wife's like, oh, we got to go do this. Oh, we need to go get this. All right, let's go do that. And if I come home like at 5-6 o'clock, I'm like, I'll just do it tomorrow. But I'm consistently trying to do one at least once a week so that people who are holding packages, the customers that I have, they're looking forward to whenever it happens. And sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the evening. Sometimes I'll be able to do it like every Friday, like for like a month, I'll do it every Friday. Like, oh, another one this Friday. Like, no, I don't think so, but I think it's consistency, having different kind of product, because I noticed that when I was buying in the very beginning on Facebook or Instagram, the guys that I would look for, I would try to buy from the guys who had random different stuff. Like there's guys who dedicate themselves to the same American Eagles, Maples, Kangaroos, generic Buffalo Rounds. And that's like all they sell, like 10 products, and that's all they sell, right? They don't move from there. And then there's other guys who will do what some people call recycled bullion, the vintage silver bars, the art bars, the rounds, and the high end premium stuff. So I try to get a little bit of everything so that there's something for everybody, right? And this is why I do jewelry. I literally have people who will only buy jewelry from me and have been following me for 3-4 years, and they only ever buy jewelry, you know. And sometimes I only have a jewelry sell once a month, once every other month, but they're there, you know, and and they're waiting, and like sometimes they'll get a bezel with a coin in it, and that's the only time they'll ever buy a coin if it's in the bezel that they can wear.
Gotcha.
Right?
Cool.
But for the most part, there's stackers who only buy the bullion or the coins and won't buy any jewelry. So I try to have a little bit of everything. And then another thing that helps is like putting out the informative videos. The more your customers know about something, the more they're informed. I think the better it makes them a better customer because they understand what they're buying. You know how to get in and out. Like you're explaining, like, hey, you know, you got to have it in and out. When are you going to sell? You know, what level is it? You know, going to be smart for you to get rid of what you have. You know, when you inform people like stuff like that, or when they ask you questions and you're willing to answer, because I get people who ask me like, hey, what do you charge per hour or by the minute if I wanted to have a 15-minute conversation? I'm like, what? Like, bro, just call me. Like, I'm going to be packing tomorrow. Yeah. I have 8 hours of packing to do. Just give me a call. Like, really? I'm like, yeah. And then I'll be on the phone for like an hour, you know, picking my brain, asking stuff. And I love it because to me, it's like there's so much money in metals that if you look at Instagram, yeah, it's big. And there's a lot of money that goes around. Go to a coin show. Go to some of these shows like Fun or the PA, you know, they're huge. Like you got guys who have tables who have millions of dollars on their table. And, and they're right next to another guy who has another $1 million worth of stuff. And they're selling almost the same thing. And it's like, they don't go back and forth like, oh, I got a better price. Everybody's just minding their own business. They're selling. Sometimes they're even talking to each other. And it should be the same thing on Instagram. So that's why when people ask me for like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, I have a question. Can you help me out? Like, hey, how did you get started? Or I'm looking to get started. Like, call me, man. It'd be easier to just shoot me a call instead of texting, and then I'll help you out. So I think people are open and they know that I'm like that. So then they support me in that way because they know they can ask me questions. If they have questions, they could buy something from me and be like, hey, what did I just buy? You know, and then I'll explain it to them if I have the time, or like I tell them, like, just get on a video call real quick and I'll show you different things so you understand what you're getting into. Or if you're even trying to get into it, like, this is how you should start. This is, you know, this stuff might not be good for you in the very beginning until you start learning. Right. So then, like I said, to me, it's consistency and having your customers know exactly what they're getting into.
That's good, man. So you've done something that not a lot of people on I guess we can call ourselves the ground level of this community have done. And that's getting a piece that you conceptualized minted. Right. Yeah. Not just minted, but it was minted with a denomination. Do you by chance have an example of that to show us?
I do, right here.
Hey, so tell us about that.
So, I mean, this is why I preach. It's all about connections, right?
I'm going to bring you up full screen and just show it again while you're talking.
So to me, it's the coins and almost any job, right? It's all about connections. And the way I was able to get this done was before we even moved to Texas. We visited because we were thinking about moving. We were looking at houses, and there was a coin show, and I happened to go to that coin show, and there was a guy there who had his table set, literally one little box, you know, the glass little case, and he had a few things in there. Most of them were Engelhard bars, and back then, that's all I ever collected for the 10-ounce bars.
Oh, nice.
And I had a 1982 GSA, I think it was, or 84. It was a cheap GSA at the time, and I couldn't sell it. I got it cheap. I got it for like $140, I think. That's what they were cheap back in the day. They were like the most expensive you can get is like 180 for them back then. And I was looking to trade it for an Engelhard bar. And I know the guy, they can sell that kind of stuff and they could sell it for good money. So I was like, hey, would you be interested in trading this for a 10-ounce bar? And he looked at me like, what the heck? He's like, wait, it's not my stuff. This is my boss. Let me call him. And he calls him. And you can hear him on the phone. He's like, who the fuck would do that? You know, that's crazy. Like, he wants to trade a GSA for an Engelhard bar. Like, hold on, I'll go there right now. And then he's like, he's just gonna come right now. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he comes over and he's like, what are you trying to do? I'm like, I'm trying to trade this. He's like, give me $20 on top. I'm like, you give me $20. The Morgan's worth more than this bar. He's like, no way. He looks at me and he goes, okay, we can do it. And then I was like, I'll tell you what you can price these at, like what you can sell them for. And he goes, and I started telling him like this bar demands this, because there was loaves, there was P loaves, there was the waffle backs, pressed, C series and all that. And he was just like kind of mind blown. It's like, what? Like, well, it's like, if you end up moving over here, here's my card. And this is the guy that was his last show. But it happened to be his last show he ever did. Never went back to selling at shows again. And I met him that day before we even moved, and he was the guy that helped me get this coin done. And it's just like 3-4 months into living in Texas, I finally had a chance, because he was the opposite where we live. He was South Austin and about 50 minutes from my house. And when I worked, there was no chance for me getting there in time because they closed like at 4:30. So I was working over there one day, literally 10 minutes from there. So I took my lunch and I went straight to his shop. And then this guy had a crazy amount. Like, he has a lot of stuff now, but then it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, like silver freaking monster boxes just on racks full of stuff. And I'm like, dude, like, how do you have this in the open? He goes, like, it's how we sell our stuff. I'm like, that's wild. Right. So then I just started connecting to him. I started earning his trust. Anytime he gave me something, I'd be like, hey, I'll come back in 3 days. I'll have your money. Third day, show up to his shop, or I'll shoot him an email like, hey, can I just send you a Zelle, or can I send you a e-check? And he was like, yeah, or a check, whatever. And he take it. I always pay him whenever I told him. So then, like, I remember one time he had me help them count cash, and it was like, I don't know, probably $1 million in cash. I'm like, dude, this is wild. Then he let me into his back office. There's his little office, and he put a 21 ounce Eagles in my hand, and I was like, gold Eagles. I was like, oh, dude, my heart was racing. I was like, I've never had this much gold in my hand, and it was crazy. So I earned his trust, and we became good friends. And till this day, I see him probably once a week. He'll call me, I'll call him for stuff. And, I do a lot of business outside of Instagram with him. And something came up where he had made a coin, and he's made a lot of stuff that you guys probably seen. But he's like, I'm like, would I be able to get something like that done? He goes, yeah. He's like, I could help you. And I was like, no way. He goes, yeah. And so I was like, I've always wanted to do the angel, but I wasn't sure if you could. And then they're like, oh yeah, it's up for grabs. You can do it. So I was like, can we do it? And he's like, yeah, let's work on it. So then he was the one that was helping me. I actually got to meet the mint who helped me create this, or went through him in person. They came down and they had another project. And then he's like, hey, they want to meet you if you want to come down. And so I got to meet them, and we were discussing projects. So like, I really want to get this done in a gold guild version.
Heck yeah.
So we're thinking about doing that, but in order to bring the cost down, so it's a little more affordable. Because I think the initial price, I think I had him at 140 or 145. I had to order 1,000 to bring him down just like $10-15 maybe, if I can get him, if I can do 1,000. But you're still spending around $85,000, and you're sitting on it for like 4 to 6 months, so that's the thing, is you're sitting on all this money on a product for so long, and you just don't know when you're going to get it, and it's just like, but to me, it's crazy to be able to have your own coin. Like, I never even imagined it, because I never thought I'd be doing this for a living. And then once I did, it was like, I want to create my own silver bar or silver round, not even government backed. It was just like, I just need it and I want it, but it's so expensive, and then to be able to just be like, hey, I could probably get you a coin done if you want to get a coin. I'm like, what? Government backed? I'm like, no way. Right. I was like, I think I cried the first time he sent me a picture, and he's like, come on by. Like, I was like, what do you need? I was like, I'm busy, I'm packing. He goes, just stop by. I'm like, dude, I can't. I have like 100 and something packages to do. He goes, he's like, just stop by. It's your angel. I'm like, no way, it's here. So I go over there. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I got in the truck, and I think I started crying. I was like, man, I would have never thought, because it's just like I came from nothing, and like you literally didn't know anything about the hobby, and then now I have like my own government bullion coin. It has AGS in the bottom, because I wanted to put AG stacking, but I was like, it's gonna kind of kill the image. And I was like, I could put AGS as the initials of my company, but at the same time, it's just silver to most people, because some people won't buy it because it has my logo on it. They just don't like me for whatever reason, So I'm like, I want everybody to be able to buy it. People are gonna love it,
Sure.
And I even had, I think Rogue Island Mint reached out to me and wanted to sell them. And I was like, dude, they wanted to buy a 500. I'm like, my mintage was 500. They're like, well, next time let us know. We'll for sure buy 500. I'm like, Like, well, I wish I would have known. Like, I don't have an account with him, but that would have been cool, to be able to have another supplier. Because I did reach out to Sean D'Souza. He was one of my initial dealers in the beginning who actually helped me out. And I was like, hey, do you want to sell some of these on your end? And he agreed, and he gladly took them. And then like a couple, a day or two later, he said, hey, I need like 50 more. You got them from me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think I sold like 200 or 250 through Instagram, and the rest were Sean D'Souza and another guy, Kenneth, who was Bedlam.
Bedlam Metals. Yeah.
So it was cool, man. It was a project like I never would have thought I would have ever even done. Like it never came through my mind just because of it being so expensive to get done,
Heck yeah,
and
man.
So it was a great experience. Like I didn't have to do too much, but at the same time, it's still like because initially we wanted to go with Fiji. I think I have the picture, and they didn't allow it. So there was a few different places that wouldn't allow it because of nudity.
It
wouldn't allow it. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? But it's the Mexican angel. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. And he's like, no, we can't have it. So this is what it was. This was a Fiji version. She has a blouse on.
Covered. Huh.
Yeah. Oh.
Better that you went through Nui, man.
Yeah. I'm glad you went the other way.
You could see the Fiji in the back right there.
Yep.
That's her logo, and it was already done. And I was like, bro, like no. And they're like, what if we colorized it and we made it green, white, and red? I'm like, that's Italian. I'm like, that's not Mexico. If it doesn't have the eagle, it's not Mexico. They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm like, so we struggled, man. It took a little while to finally find somebody. I think we went to like 3-4 different people, and like, no, nudity. We don't do nudity. I'm like, what? And then finally, I was like, all right, cool. I'm glad we were able to get somebody to approve it and say yes, and like I said, it was a hit. I think a lot of people are still looking for them. I have a few graded, but I'm in a rush to sell them. Like, to me, it's like I didn't
sit on them, man.
So yeah.
So how long did it take you to move the brunt of them once you got them in hand? Like,
so I pre-sold them. And I think I sold out within a week.
As I say, it didn't sound like it took long at all.
Yeah, no, awesome, I think, like I said, I think I want to say I sold about 200, 250 on Instagram. And then Sean took, like I said, I think he took about 150. And then between him and another, Bedlam and another guy, Mark, they got the rest. And I want to say Rogue only bought like 25 off of me because they reached out last minute. And I had allocated those for somebody else, and they're like, "Oh man, I don't want them anymore." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I just gave them to Rogue. But the majority, like half of them, sold on Instagram. The other half sold to dealers. But they were selling them for, I think, $10 more than what I sold them for. But for the majority, they all sold out. There was a few people that backed out, and then like 6 months later, like, dude, I regret backing out on that. Like, I didn't think like they're selling for like 190 on eBay now, or I seen them on Facebook for like 200. I'm like, you never know, man. It could be a hit, it could be a miss. You just don't know.
It's funny you mentioned that guy's backing out, and I was going to ask you, and I guess now is a good time with your flash sales on Instagram. How often do you have someone back out, or how often do you have to track somebody down? Because I do see it, and I'm sure others see it who are on Instagram, that there's people who have been called out for non-payment. I mean, do you have that quite often?
Oh yeah. It's almost every flash show. There's always somebody, right? And and I understand because some people get a little carried away. It's an adrenaline rush, right? Like my flash shows are like some people's lives. Some people's lives are like, oh, I got to bid. With my flash, it's like, oh, I got to get in on time, right?
Yep.
And some people get a little carried away, and I understand, especially when there's backup bins, because sometimes people will do backup bins. But what sucks is when they don't respond. I'm very lenient. I'm easy to work with.
See that, right?
Yeah, and it's just like some people will go a week, and I'm like, hey, you still interested? And they read. You can see that they read the message, and nothing. And then I'll ask again. I'm like, hey, do you want it? They read it, nothing. After 2 weeks, I'm like, hey, I'm going to put it back up, and they leave me on red. They leave me on red, and they saw that, and they don't say anything. I block them, and I literally today, I just blasted like 3 people for that. Because they just left me on red after 2-3 times.
Yeah, no, it's not cool whatsoever. But I mean, because you take any bullion dealer out there that's an online sale. I mean, you do not get the stuff even shipped to your house until a payment's gone through.
Yeah, exactly. And my thing is,
it's tough on your guys. You're
yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why I call them out, is because I'm a bigger seller, right? I'm not the biggest seller, but I'm a big seller where I can take the hit and put it in my next flash show. Some of these other guys, they can only go live once a week at a certain time because they have work, they have family, and that's the only time. So if you waste their time, now they got to wait for another week in order to be able to sell it. And they were counting on that to buy more product, to pay for something. And that's why I don't like blasting people, but I do it because I want other people to avoid it in case they're following them. They don't go into their auctions or their sales and then buy stuff or claim stuff and not pay for it because it hurts them. You know, like I said, to me, I can take the hit. I can repost it. I do this for a living. Or I can go back and be like, hey, do you want it? But when you're live, it's hard to remember who else wanted it. Like, you're not going to jot down, let me put you as a backup. You're not going to waste your time doing that. You're just going to like, oh, this guy's going to take it. And you're hoping he pays. And when they don't, that just, it sucks for the guys that do it live. And again, it's just their hobby. And for you to waste their time is the reason why I just started blasting them now on my story. I'm like, hey, this guy didn't pay $200. Like today, I think I did 3 or 4 guys over $1,000 altogether, right? Which is not a lot, but to some people, it's a lot of money. For me, it's just like I put one of the chains up that was $300 something and it sold right away. You know, so again, I have the ability to do that, but not everybody can do that. Right.
No, but it's good on your end to do that. Even if it's been 2-3 weeks, that okay, now others that do what you do know, look, this guy's probably not going to pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
You know?
Right on. Cool.
Now you've been doing this for some time, and I guess, have you noticed any trends in what people want today versus what they wanted when you were first selling?
I think that is there are trends, but at the same time, I probably switched over into what I wanted to start selling, right? Because there's some of the stuff that I used to stack at the very beginning was on 90%. People still buy that to this day. I hate selling it. I hate selling. I remember I hit up Sean. Sean had his Facebook group. He had a crap ton of 90%. I'm talking about thousands of face value. And I was like, hey, can I take your picture and pre-sell it? And this is why I stopped doing pre-sales. I was like, can I pre-sell it on my page? He goes, yeah, man, go ahead. Let me know at the end of the day how many you're going to need. And I started pre-selling. I think I had like close to 500 face value that I sold.
Wow.
And when I got that in, I was like counting for days. Just people wanted $1. I wanted 50 cents in dimes. You know, I'm like, dude, like they weren't buying $5, $10, $20 face. It was like little small amount. I think that alone in 90% was like 80 packages, you know, because it was all like $1 here, $2 here, you know, and I was like, oh man, never again. And
that's enough of that.
And I had people who backed out on me, but I had already committed and I had to pay him. So I'm like, okay, now the money that I had for this other bullion, I can't spend it because I have to cover what he didn't pay for. And I got to sell that. And like I said, back in the day, I would work more. So then I didn't have time to sell it till a Sunday came around. And even then, sometimes I worked Sundays and there was like hardly any time. Like I was a zombie, just going to bed super late, waking up super early to go to work. But it's kind of like what I used to sell. Now I don't sell it very often. I'll buy it here and there. But if the dealer that I deal with or a couple dealers are buying it at a certain price and I have a lot of it, I'll just take it to them. But there are trends, there's certain things that come out, you know, and you just got to pay attention to what people like. And it kind of helps when there's a lot of guys that do pre-sales. So if you pay attention to what they're selling, you can understand what people are liking. Because sometimes as a dealer, you're like, oh, I think this is going to be a great hit. And then you start seeing all these pre-sales and nobody's claiming anything.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Like, why isn't nobody? And then you just kind of like, I see this guy's having a pre-sale, that guy's having a pre-sale, and it's like 1 or 2 people claiming. Then there's other pre-sales where you're like, dude, there's like 100 comments on that thing. Like, you know, so it's like, you just never know. So I watch like some of those guys that have the pre-sale. So then, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to commit to too many because they're probably not going to sell and I'm going to get stuck with them. And then if you get stuck with them, you either got to take a loss on them or hold them until spot goes up.
Yeah, right.
But to me, the trends that I use is I have an Excel sheet where I keep track of everything that I buy and sell, who I sold it to, and for what price. So then I kind of go in there and like I do it bi-weekly. Every week I can go in there and look, and I can essentially tell you like this customer is buying this product every flash show. Like I know who's gonna like if I can give you like 5 people who are gonna buy American Eagles if I have American Eagos for sale. You can almost guarantee like these 5 guys are going to probably be in there buying, especially if they're priced right. You know, I'm for sure going to have this guy here buy Peace Dollars or Morgans, you know. So there's certain things that I can, with my Excel sheet, because I keep track of everything, that I can go back and like, oh, this is what these guys are buying. So then I know if I come across it, the local shops or dealers or online, Facebook, whatever, oh, that's a good deal. If I buy those, these 10 people are probably going to buy them, you know. And it's not like you're praying, oh, you know, they're gonna buy them, but it's more like, okay, this is what they like to buy.
Sure.
I should have some of this stuff for these guys, right? Or these people over here, they like to buy this, so I should try to find some of that stuff, you know. And it's kind of like, okay, like I have vintage bars. I know, okay, there's but 20, 30 people that follow me that buy this stuff, so it's guaranteed to sell most of them, right? Like on my flash shows, I probably say about 70% of my stuff sells. The other stuff sits, put it in another flash sale, and then it sells. If it doesn't, I'll have guys that I can sell on the side, or I'll put them up on eBay or Facebook. But at the end of the day, the majority of his stuff sells. But I pay attention to through my sheets, so I know, okay, like this is what people are liking. This is, and then I go visit other pages to see what stuff is selling. Like I do a lot of research, because I'm like, I don't want to get stuck.
You have to.
Yeah, to me, I buy and I want it to flip it right away. If I can buy it one day and sell it the next, good. You know, I don't want to hold it for long. There's other people who are like, oh, I don't care. I want to get $50 no matter what. I'll hold it for a year. I'm like, not me. Like, if I get it today, I want to sell it tomorrow. You know, but I wait for my flash sales. I don't really do private sales, so I just, whenever I do them once a week, sell them in my flash sales. But if I can get rid of it that next flash sale, it'll be gone if I wanted to. But for me, it's just to flip it right away. I don't want to sit on stuff too long. So that I know, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not going to buy too many. And then I buy like 20 or 30 of them. And I'm like, damn, I should have bought 100, you know? And then there's other times where I'm like, I buy 100 and only 10 of them sell. I'm like, damn, I should have done that, you know? But it's just, you never know. It's a hit or miss. And it's all about buying the stuff right. You know, buying it right. You buy it right, and you won't have a hard time selling it.
So on the topic of your flash sales, just one last question on that. Do you have those all queued up and then you just drop them one after another? How do you get them so quick?
So yeah, that's a great question. I was going to touch on that too.
I just what I do is I have everything on my table, and then so what Costco does is when you walk into their store, their biggest items are up in the front, right? You got the big TVs with the big ticket prices, washers, you know, all these electronics and appliances. As you're walking in, then you start seeing the ticket items start dropping the prices. So you're like, oh, this is cheap. Oh, this is good. And you don't even realize it, but your mind, that's how it works. It's a sales tactic that is used. So I do the same thing with my flash sales. I start off my flash sales with my 100-ounce bars when I have them, 10-ounce bars for sure. So usually my 10-ounce bars go first. I do all my gold last because people just love the gold. So it just goes at the end. Right. But for my highest ticket item, usually our 10-ounce bars, I start off with those first, then my 5-ounce, then my 2-ounce, and then my 1-ounce stuff, right? But I have everything. I take pictures of everything, and I have it lined up as how I'm gonna, like, as I take a picture, I put it in a row. So I take all my pictures first, and then I have my sheet open in case I don't remember what I paid, and then for the most part, like I said, I can go back to the week previously and look, oh, what did this item sell for? Spot's about the same. Okay, I'm gonna put up for the same price. So then I just boom, 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 just go take the picture, put the description, and right away. Sometimes I just copy and paste the description because it's very similar.
Yep.
And it just goes quick, you know. And but I take all my pictures beforehand, because sometimes, like, my wife, we're going to Costco. It's about a 45-minute drive for us. I'm like, hey, you're driving. I'm going to be having my flash sale. So as soon as I get to Costco, I'm done with my flash sale. And we'll go shopping. Hey, I'll start invoices when I get back home, you know. And
that's nice.
I just pulled the same thing. My wife drove to the water park we went to this weekend, and the whole time I was editing a video for YouTube. I said, you're driving. I got things to work on.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Okay, so AG Stacking as a business, what are your long-term goals moving forward? What are you trying to achieve?
So to me, it just, for the most part, like, I plan on doing this for a while. Hold on, this guy wants to say hi.
What's up, buddy?
Dude,
wearing the AG Stacking shirt.
I love it, man.
Oh yeah.
And to me, it's mostly like, I hope to be able to still do this, as I don't plan on quitting, right? Like I tell my wife, like this is something you can do as pretty much retirement, right? Like you don't have to worry about it too much because it's not hard per se. Like, yeah, I have to sometimes stay up till 2-3 in the morning to get some of these packages out. But the older you get, the slower you can go if you wanted to, right? And you can still sell. And if I plan it right, where I have my investments in the market and I have gold and silver and all this other stuff, real estate, you really don't have to do too much. So, but for sure, like I want to be able to have a website so that I can just have people go directly to the website and I don't have to consistently be doing flash sales. But the one thing I like about the flash sales is it's kind of like having a storefront. Like you still get to interact with people.
I say it keeps it kind of personal still.
Yes, yeah, and that's what, like when the way I do invoices, people are like, oh, why don't you start using emails and send invoices through like Outlook or whatever the output. What is it called?
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. You know, and I'm like,
Quicken,
because people actually like to have like you send them a picture, you send them a invoice through a DM. And then they want to connect with you. They want to like, hey, how's the kids? Or hey, how's it going? Hey,
yeah, right.
You know, but when you're doing it through email, you kind of lose that, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I still want to be able to do that, even if it's 10, 15 years from now, whether it be on Instagram or another platform in the future. Because I feel like that's the face-to-face that you get virtually, right? And that's kind of like people are like, oh, why don't you open up your storefront? I had the opportunity to buy store 2 Decembers ago. This guy was selling it, and I was like, man, I want to hang out with my kids. I really enjoy having this time with my kids until they go to school. Then I might consider it. Because it's just doing this online. Like I said, I can be in the car with my wife, driving to go grocery shopping and doing a flash sale. You know, I could be on vacation and you know, if I find coins, I could put it up for sale. But hey, I'll ship it in a week when I get back.
Right.
And you sell and you have money right away and you can continue to flip. So, you know, in reality, it's just you can do this forever. But again, to me, it's not something that I really want to get stuck to a store to become, you know, to be at a 9-to-5 again. I don't want it. And essentially that's what it is. Once you get a store, you're back to a 9-to-5. You have to have your hours. Yeah, you can hire somebody, but that's the hardest part. Like even me now, I have my sister who's helping me and she helps me with packing. And, you know, it's great. Then once she's done, I'm like, I don't know who else I'm going to be able to have to help me. Like, who am I going to find? It's hard to find somebody that can do that.
And then trust.
Exactly. Because somebody can literally just walk in, put a 1 ounce gold coin in their pocket. And you're not even going to notice it until you do your, you know, inventory.
It's too late, right?
Or somebody's like, hey, I'm missing this coin. And you're like, I don't know where'd it go? Unless you have cameras, then you can track it back to who took it. But you know, it's so hard to get somebody who trusts. That's why some of these guys who hire people, you ask them like, how long you been working with him? Like 8, 10, 12 years. Because they just from day one, you know, they started with them and they grew and they trusted each other and they're there. So they'll never leave. It's hard to find somebody that you trust, you know?
Yeah. So I think we need to wrap this up real soon, but what I wanted to touch on was the market, right? Right now we're seeing spot shooting up more than it has in a while, right?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, have you noticed purchases increasing or scaling back? Are people still buying? What are you seeing?
So this is something I actually wanted to do a video on because I'm getting a lot of people, even other sellers that are like, hey man, it's gotten really slow. Like, or is it happening to you? And for me, it's slowed down some, but the difference with me is I have so many people that are trying to buy my flash shows that the people that normally are in my flash show will stop buying. And now these new people are coming in, like probably the last 2-3 months, every flash show, I've had at least 15 new people.
Wow.
And some of them are like, hey, dude, I finally, after like a year trying to buy from you, like something I really wanted, I finally was able to get in there and get it on time. You know, so that's cool, right? So, but it has slowed down. I noticed that I have been buying a lot more and a lot heavier. Like I did a couple deals. I think one day I had a little over 18 grand coming in one day from like 4 different people, right? And it's a lot for me, right? And I'm like, dude, in one day, I'm like I ran out of Zelle, man. I can only Zelle like 10 grand in one day. I can send you e-check or Venmo. But I think some people have hit their number. You know, some of these guys have been stacking when it was $12, $15, $18 an ounce. And now they're damn near double their money. And, you know, and some of the stuff I'm paying like 50 cents a dollar back a spot. And I'm like, I can't, because if it doesn't sell here, I got to sell a local. And there's a local shop who will pay me spot for silver. You know, so it's like, if I can't sell it on Instagram, I got to run over and sell it there, get rid of it real quick if I need the money, right? But for the most part, in the past, I would pay, you know, $1, $2 if it's something high premium. If it's selling on eBay for 100, I'd probably give you 65, 70 bucks, because I might be able to sell on Instagram for 85. If I can't sell it there, I got to put it on eBay. So I would, depending on what it is, you know, I'm buying. But I think a lot more people were buying just because everybody's trying to sell right now, and there's not a lot of people buying. So people are like, the only people I can get it or sell it to are dealers. So now they're trying to like reach out to dealers because nobody else is buying on their pages. But I think people are afraid that it's going to dip, you know. So I think after silver being at $32 an ounce for maybe a week or two, people will start to be like, okay, it's going to settle here. I think I can start buying again. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. If it does, it's going to fluctuate, you know, 30, 50 cents. But then people get comfortable and start buying again, you know, but it's when it's going up and down the $2, $3 changes that people freak out and they're like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stay stagnant. But then you have the true stackers that no matter what, every week, their $200 budget, they're buying. And that's the thing is, people have budgets. And this is what people don't understand. Like, if I look at the amount of silver I'm selling compared to dollar value, I'm selling about the same amount. But because this person only has a $200 budget, they could only buy so many ounces of silver because it's so high now. It's $32 to $35 an ounce for generic stuff. Before they were paying $26, $28. So they can buy like an extra ounce. So now you have 200 people buying from your flash sale. That's $200, 200 less ounces you're selling because they can get one less ounce for the money they were spending. But the dollar amount is still there.
Right.
The amount of ounces you're selling is less because people can only afford so much. And they're like, I can't go over my budget. I got to stick to my budget. And that's what people don't understand. I was like, you're selling less ounces because people can only spend so much and it's higher. And it's going to be the same thing when it hits $50 an ounce. People that were buying 4 ounces with $100, now they can only buy two.
Right.
And it's the thing is, silver and gold's going up, but your salary isn't, you know? And, you know, that's where you're just kind of like, oh, damn, like, well, I can only buy this now. My dollar used to buy me this. Now it's buying me a lot less.
Yeah, man.
Same thing with food, same thing with gas, you know? So that's what people don't realize, that it's people have budgets and they won't, like, we can go over our budget. Like, I can spend $100,000 and I can be like, I can put it on a credit card. I'll pay it off at the end of the month. So I can actually buy $200,000 if I wanted to. Right. But normal people who have jobs and that's the only income they have, they have to.
Well, it really means a savings, you know, because they're terrible with cash. Which, again, that's what I preach, is a budget and stick to it.
Yeah,
man. Good stuff. All right, Paulie, got anything?
No, man. I just want to tell them, keep up the good work, and
seriously,
good luck with that next one. I hope you get a gilded one. I hope you go for the 1,000, because it seems like if you would have won 1,000 on this first one, shoot, you wouldn't have had a problem. But man, that's great for the community and yourself and everything you got going on. It's huge. It's a huge thing.
Thanks, man. I got something that I'm coming out with. I just got them in, the last of them, yesterday, and I wanted to show them here first.
Oh, look at that, dude!
1 ounce silver Mexican flag.
Yeah,
and it's got my logo on the back. Una onza plata pura.
Look at that!
Oh, hell yeah!
Is that under embargo or?
No. This is just. I'm gonna probably have it in my next sale. So I don't know when you guys are posting this video, but I'll probably have it on the weekend. Okay,
it'll go up Thursday.
All right, so I'll be probably selling them on Friday or Saturday. But yeah, this is a new piece that I had made 100 of each.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Yeah, bring those back up. There you go.
How many of each?
100 of each so far. I might make more, just depending on how they sell.
And you said they're 1 ounce?
1 ounce, yeah.
Nice.
I know. I think Cook Island came out with some. I didn't realize it till I already had this in the works. And the dye was expensive. Just to make the dye, to make the shape, cost me $1,200. So I was like, I'm not stopping now. I already paid for these damn dyes.
Yeah, right.
Plus the flag dyes. I think just the dyes alone, I spent like $1,800. Nice. You know, so I was like, I'm gonna continue it. I'm like, it'll probably be a little different, but I was excited. I was like, let me bring it on here and have these guys.
Nice.
Love it, man. Thanks for that. That's
yeah,
cool.
dude. If you're thinking Friday, this will be out Thursday, so give them a little head start. Be on the lookout, and we'll leave all your information in the description below. Like you said, you'd like to get a website, but you don't yet. So it's Instagram. Most likely, we'll tag your Instagram link in the description.
Appreciate it. Yeah, if I ever do, like I have the website already. I've been having the domain agstacking.com forever, but I just haven't done nothing with it. Like I have a website built, just kind of like a whatever, but I don't have it live because it's just. I said if I put something up, it's going to be sold on Instagram before I can make it to the website. So it's no point.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good for you.
yeah. Right.
Edgar, thank you so much, man, for
bro.
being on the show. We appreciate you being here. Hopefully we can have you down on the show maybe in a few months. Bring you back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
That's
Heck
cool,
yeah.
Man. That's cool.
I'll be down. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Good stuff. Polly, you got it?
I got it. Let's go here. And Husky, what do you think?
We're out. I think we're good.
Check you on the next one, brother.